Hi, everyone. We're just going to do a little moment of silence for Jason David Frank. So, a few days ago, we lost a hero. We lost a person who was a very influential part of this fandom. He made many people's childhoods wonderful. And this is just a special episode just to talk in remembrance of him. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to Tribunal of the Grid. My name is Brandon.
My name is Lena.
And my name is Will.
And today we will be, we're here. We are here, but yeah, um, as you all are probably very much aware, um, Jason David Frank is no longer with us. Um, and yeah, it's been an interesting couple hours. We are recording the day after, well, pretty much the day of when the news broke, but um technically for us we started hearing the news the day before, which was on the 19th, Saturday. We are recording on November 20th. So thoughts, what do you how do you all feel, like what's going through your minds right now?
Like, I feel so
Oh,
bad for all the times we basically trashed his character. And I mean that, and like, I'm laughing more like I'm not laughing at him. It's just like, the heck? Are you kidding me right now? Ugh.
right. I'm still in shock. Like you just saying his name, it's like what? Like
It doesn't
it's just,
feel like he's gone. It feels like a really bad joke. Like a really bad joke.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, mm, and just, like the circumstance, of how it happened, that makes it like even worse. So I just, it's just it's a lot to take in. I saw some of his co-stars. They did tributes. Nakia and Kat, they're on the road right now doing appearances, and I think it was on the Power Rangers playback page. Oh, they did like one of those collage videos, and they did it had the song "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye" by Boyz II Men. When I saw that it was that song, I knew I couldn't click on it because like I felt like on the verge of tears like for the last day, but I haven't actually did it. But like I knew if I would have watched that, I probably wouldn't have. That wouldn't
Yeah.
be good for me. But it's so crazy because he's when you think of that show, that's the first person you think of. Like to have this 30th anniversary special coming up and he's not a part of it, it feels weird. It's cool that, other people get the chance to shine like their characters will, but it almost feels like, wow, Tommy's not there. So and now like he won't be at all. And that's just like, wow. That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, and I heard you, Lena, earlier. what you were saying and about, like talking about his character and stuff like that. I'm not even gonna hold you. And for the listeners out there who've been listening and rocking with us since day one, 4 years ago,
Yeah.
um, it's no secret. It's
Yeah.
no secret that I'm not a fan, that I
Yeah.
wasn't a fan of him.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, it's one of those things where I'd be real fake if I were to go on a long tangent being like, oh my God, he meant so much to me and
It,
all that
it,
stuff.
it,
I'd be
it's
fake if I said that.
it's funny you say that, and that's exactly what I was thinking. And like I saw Will post something earlier where he said, "Thank you for being so nice when I met you." And I'm not gonna lie, and I've said this before. He was freaking amazing when I met him.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, I still love our encounter, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, as time went on, we learned the real person he is, and we learn, more. Like that saying still goes, never meet your hero, they say, right? And I'm sure he was great to a lot of people, but obviously he chose the size that he wanted to release out there, to certain people. Like I just read a
Hmm.
beautiful post from Sierra Henna and how he essentially, took her under his wings and like
Yeah.
protected her. And I was like, that is so nice. Like that's really nice, like. And so there are different sides of who he is as a person, and he obviously chooses certain people to be in his circle, which is there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that. But I guess like it's unfortunate we also saw the other sides of him that like wasn't so nice, Um that was sort of him faking it too, right? But I'm with you 100% there, Brennan. Like I'm definitely in shock that he's gone, but at the same time it feels horrible to me to not. I could be still in shock too, but like it doesn't feel like he's
Yeah.
on at all. Like, and I don't
No.
like. I just don't. I still think it's a horrible joke.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just it I'm not even gonna hold you. Finding out pretty much yesterday when I did, it was one of those things like when I tell you I literally stared at the phone before I told y'all. Like I stared at the phone for like a good maybe 20 minutes, being like back and forth, like, you know what? Maybe I should just wait till tomorrow because it's gonna come out anyway. It's gonna come out if it is true, it's gonna come out and I'll just wait for you all to find out. But then I was like, no, I'll go ahead and tell you. And even then, it was just like, it was one of those things where it was just like, it hit me. And a part of me was like, it, looking at a lot of the responses from just so many actors and, you know, when it, as everything was coming out and everything yesterday, and just looking at all the cryptic messages and look, from certain people. I think Blake Foster was one of them. Selwyn Ward. You know, the more the cryptic messages started to pop up, the more real it felt.
Hmm.
And it was like at first, it was kind of this hearsay. People were just like, I don't know. Like, it was a lot of people being like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. Or, this is a joke and, this is not real. And because, the internet real quick to kill somebody off. Like, I mean, it is what it is.
Hmm.
We'll kill somebody off in a
They
heartbeat.
just,
Oh my
yeah, they
god.
literally just did it with Jimmy Fallon, I think the week before.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
right.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you
Yeah.
remember the guy from Walking Dead, Norman Reedus, who plays Daryl?
Hmm.
So apparently, this is what happened a while ago, but apparently the internet killed him off too. And I remember someone who actually believed it came up to me because they knew I was a Walking Dead fan, and they're like, "Oh, you must be having such a hard day today." And I'm like, "What are y'all talking about?" He's like, "Your favorite character like died." I'm like, "What do you mean die? Like, are you talking about like die in the show, or are you talking about dying in real life? Like, I don't know. It's The Walking Dead. Like, they could be dead in the show too. Like, I'm just saying, it's Walking Dead." And they're like, "Yeah, your favorite character, Daryl. Didn't he die?" And I was like, "Die how?" Like, because now I'm confused because because I know he's not dead in the show, right? He's
Right.
till this day he's still very
Mhm.
much alive in the show. So I'm like, "Die how?" They're like, "Did he get into a motorcycle accident, like, and died?" And I'm like, "Well, if the guy into a motorcycle accident and died, then whoever is on their Instagram account right now, that's spooky because he seems very much alive to me." Like, I was like extra confused, right? Because I was just on his Instagram like literally like an hour ago, and he seems very alive and active. And they're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm confident." I'm like, "Are you sure you got the right person?" Because in no world, Walking Dead world, or real world, did Norman Reedus or Daryl die in any aspect at all. So are you sure you're talking about Daryl slash Norman Reedus, like the guy who rides the motorcycle with the leather jacket who shoots the bow and arrow? They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, well, they're still very much alive from last time I checked on them."
I guess for me, going back to what I started to say earlier, I don't want to be that person to, when someone passes, just be like, "Oh, he meant so much to me." Like, I'm never
No,
gonna shit on somebody after death.
no. Well,
That's not
exactly.
me.
We're
But
definitely never gonna say another bad thing about JDF again. But
well, no. It's not even that. It's just like I'm just not that type of person that just because someone passed, it's like now all of a sudden like they were this special person to me.
oh, no, 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 no. I
Mhm.
get it. I
Mhm.
agree. I agree with
And
you. I 1,000% agree with you.
no, yeah. And it's just one of those things where I'm just like, and this is no personal attack on anybody. But I saw so much of that today, this morning, and I
Oh,
went from being like kind of sad because obviously someone just passed away, a
yeah.
father,
And then,
a
yeah,
husband, a
Mhm.
son,
husband and a
someone
son.
just passed away.
Yeah.
I went from being sad about it to furious because I'm
Yeah.
like, when this man was alive, y'all ain't had that same energy for him.
No.
You
I
know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, and
And
I'm
it
with you. I'm with you there for sure. Like, we're definitely not going to say anything negative about him going forward, but we're definitely not going to be those people that are going to be being like all of a sudden like, "Oh my God, like he touched my soul then hard and like opened up a whole new opportunity for me." Like that's not us, but
that's no, and that's precisely my thing. Is trust me, don't get me wrong. Everybody feels the way they feel. No one has no. There's no proper way of grief or anything like that. If you genuinely do feel that way, then you are more than welcome to grieve however you want to grieve. But all I can speak of is literally from myself and just from what I observed, and it just felt so disingenuine for me just to like
Mhm.
kind of watch some of those reactions from some of the
Mhm.
fandom, from some of the people in the fandom, and it's just
Yeah.
like damn, like and it just it was kind of hard, but then it was like okay, then I saw more of the actors, and I was just going on this back and forth thing all day today. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm
Mhm.
kind of mentally exhausted. I'm not
Yeah.
even gonna
Mhm.
hold you. I'm literally mentally exhausted.
Mhm.
So it's just one of those things where, look, and I'm just gonna speak just personally. I personally, and I'm gonna be 110% transparent and honest for the very first time on this show. when it comes to JDF. I've never met that man personally. Like I've never had a
Oh,
moment where I walked up to him and said hi. Never.
Really? Oh
Never.
my God. Oh,
wow.
Never
he
have.
like
I've
Will and I can attest to that. He is a beautiful soul when you're talking to him one on one. Like he
oh no, I believe it.
oh
Oh no,
he
I believe that
this is
100%.
this is the part where I will say he touched my soul that day. And I don't mean like obviously going forward he touched my soul forever, but that day and for that whole week after I met him, I was like on cloud freaking nine. And you guys can always look back on episodes because I've said the exact same thing previously. Cloud freaking nine. He messaged me. I would post about it. He would like comment on it. Oh, everything.
Yeah.
Like he was just such a beautiful interaction, with him, right? Like I am shook in you. I'm actually, you know what? I will say this, Brandon. I'm actually genuinely sorry that you never got to experience that because it was a really beautiful experience, regardless of who he is as a person outside of that. That experience alone, like I'm genuinely sorry that you never got to feel that.
It honestly it's one of those things where I'm just like, I'm okay with it. And it's not that
Yeah.
I just genuinely just, oh, I
Yeah,
just so
yeah,
much
yeah.
hate for him. It's
No,
not
no.
that.
No,
It's
no, for
just
sure.
I never had the
Desire.
wanting. Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because the word was literally escaping me. But I just, words are hard. But I never had the desire to want to meet him. It was just one of those things where I was just like, from just all the things that like learning all the stuff about behind the scenes and all this stuff and it's just like and then
Oh,
watching some of those interviews
oh.
and some of the
Oh,
panels
yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
just like, you know what, I don't want to meet this man. And
Honestly, I'm so glad I met him before all that. I genuinely am.
Right. Same.
Yeah.
it was just one
But
of those things. I was
yeah,
just like, I don't want to do it. So that's why for me I never did. I never
No,
did.
mm,
I
Yeah.
can totally understand that. I can, like, I genuinely can, and I think, and that's why I was saying to you, like, am sorry they never got to experience that. Obviously, you did it the other way, like you experienced him the other way around, where Will and I got to experience him before the internet got to him, right? Before
Hmm,
all
hmm.
that stuff, and when convention just wasn't even a thing, and Will and I got to experience that, and I will forever cherish that moment. I genuinely will. Like I don't
Yeah,
regret it
of
at all.
course.
Um,
yeah.
and I'm really sorry. I am really am like that you never got to experience that because it's weird, but it's oddly really special. Like he makes you feel really special. Like you can
That's
literally,
one thing I've always heard. I've always
yeah,
Yeah.
heard that
Uh,
like you
in
can
every interaction.
do
just
anything. Like he makes you feel
yeah.
like the sky's the limit. Like I want to say it's almost like he's like Jesus, but he's not. But like I don't know how to
I
explain it.
rem
I
I
really am
remember
sorry.
I remember meeting him. It was almost like he knew like how much it meant to me because it
Yeah.
was just I'll tell you guys, I've said this before, like literally Power Rangers. I don't know how I remember this. I was only 3. I still remember watching season parts of season 1 all the way back in 93 at 3 years old. One of my first memories watching TV was Power Rangers. So like it was so surreal to have this man in front of me because I these two have definitely let you know how they felt about him. But I've never for me I never felt that way. Like I really enjoyed his character. I thought it was really cool. I didn't have problems with people saying that he was the best or having that opinion. I just really had so much fun watching him for the 5 years he was around and the times he came back. So it was like in that moment, like he knew like he was making a dream come true and
Yeah.
he like appreciated that and he made that moment count. And
Yeah.
I can remember also I think it was the same weekend. Um, he it was close to the end of the day. Like they just had like a costume contest, and he had come in around the end to watch it, and like people started to come all around him, and like he had like a small mob around him, and he made sure he signed something, he took a picture, he said hello. And at that point, like he wasn't at a table, so he wasn't charging anybody, and he just like made great moments for people. And I've that's something that I've been reading about, like him having. I read a story about he was running late for a flight and he had to get ready to go, but he still had a line. And then he made sure that he wrapped it up, but he made sure that like he didn't charge anybody. He just went down the line and just spoke to people, took pictures, like gave them a moment.
Yeah,
And
like
like he
Yeah.
really loved his fans.
he did.
I think he really understood. I think that was legit love there.
He really interacted a lot with his fandom, right? And 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 the thing is too, like you will, I did enjoy his character. I really did. You will, I did
Hmm.
enjoy his character for the 5 years he was
Hmm.
around. I did enjoy everything up until like even the day I met him. I remember I went up to him, I lost my words. Like I started hyperventilate. And he looked at me, he grabbed my hand, he was like, deep breath, in and out. In and out. And like he was like, "Hi, I'm Tom," or like, "I know, hi, I'm Jason," and I think it kind of mimicked what he said. It was so awkward. Oh my god, it was so awkward.
Wow.
It was so embarrassing. But like but you're right. Like he didn't make me feel embarrassed. Like I didn't feel embarrassed shortly after, right? But I just remember thinking like that was so embarrassing, right? But he's like, "Don't worry, you're good, you're calm, you're good, you're in good hands," and like like what do you want to do? Like a photo, like do you want me to sign something? So he kind of like talked me through the whole process, right? And
Right.
like I said, it was a very beautiful moment. And I remember not being able to say a lot of things to him, but that small interaction really made you felt like he's seen you. He like you knew
Hmm.
he acknowledged you, and that was like
Hmm.
so beautiful. And like and even after that, like like even like after like I think I booked a 2-day photo op with him because I wanted him in. That was the first ranger, and probably one of the few rangers after that because I did do a photo op after, but I didn't go too crazy. But he was definitely the first ranger that I ever done photo op for both days. So I did a green ranger and a white ranger photo op, and then I still stood in line for an autograph too, like twice. And so like I did all the things. Like my whole weekend was like a JDF experience, and like everything about him was just in that time in that moment was just so precious, was just so like beautiful, and like and I and obviously ultimately as we went on, we created a podcast, we dissect episodes, and that's when I started to definitely see different sides of him that I didn't really like, kind of like with other
Hmm.
people that we're not going to bring up today because it's not that's not what this topic is about.
Well, right. We
Hmm.
can talk about
Hmm.
him on a different episode.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
just that he brings up a conversation that I just want to talk about in general on the show. But yeah, moving
yeah, yeah.
on.
So, but yeah, but I do say this from the bottom of my heart because even though I know you're not a fan of him like that, I do wish you had that experience with him because it truly inspires you, it touches you, and it's a moment I feel like you just don't forget. Like you never forget, no matter how much you experience afterwards. It's definitely a moment that you just don't forget. And that I am truly sorry that you never got to experience that. I know you might not think it, but I feel like Will and I can probably agree on this that it is a moment that was worth with having with him.
That's real.
Yeah. So I say this as I have tears in my eyes for you and for him. But yes, I do I do feel that for you.
It's I don't know, like, listening to you all like say all of this about him and, how your experience was with him and meeting him. I honestly, when I say I am honestly touched, honest, like for real, I am genuinely touched. And that is like from the bottom of my heart. Like that makes me kind of in a way wish that I did, but still I'm still comfortable with my decision.
Of course.
But it just it does warm my heart that, and it just goes back further to help me to be like, for some of the people who I've seen comment, who I've seen tweet, you know, it makes sense that they felt the way they felt when they met him
Yeah.
because you know I've seen so many beautiful just wonderful posts from fans about him and their interactions with him
Yeah.
and what happened when they met him and just so
Yeah.
many wonderful stories. And I'm like, it just shows just how multifaceted of a person he is and as we all are, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because for one thing, and I say this all the time, we're all humans. There's nobody that's more terrible than anybody else. I mean, yes, people do some dumb, stupid shit, but you know, we all fall short.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Mm.
perfect, and if I always say if you can make somebody's day and change somebody's life, if you can strive to do that, like that makes you, to me, like you're outstanding just for even attempting to do that.
Yeah.
And I do know for a fact that anybody who, a lot of people who've met him and who've stood in line. That's why he has so many long ass lines. Not just because
Mhm.
he's, the original OG Green Ranger, or because he's, Tommy Oliver, but because of the experience in general. Because I've heard of people, every time he makes an appearance, they go in his line and take a picture. They've seen him multiple times because the experience was
Mhm.
always just so legendary. And
Mhm.
it's just one of those things where it's like, if you can make somebody feel like that, that's beautiful. Make them constantly want to see you all the time. That's beautiful. So I just wish that if what was reported is actually true, if what was reported from TMZ actually is true, that that was what happened to him. That's how he went out. Um, I'm not gonna repeat it because you can go on TMZ and read it for yourself. But if that's how he went out, I just want, honestly, I just really, first of all, I just wish that he had somebody that, you know, somebody, I just wish that he had somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Or, somebody that could just reel him back in, and just prevent him from, doing, if this is true, prevent him from doing what he did. Um, because at the end of the day, it's like life sucks. It's hard. Shit is hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Shit.
and it's one of those things where it's like, I'm never gonna say that's not the answer because I've been in those shoes before where it was almost like, you know what, this shit is too unbearable for me. I can't, like, I cannot do this. And it just so happened that my best friend, my homegirl, who still to this day, I will always tell her, no matter what, I will not be here if it wasn't for you. Because she literally called me. Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know if the universe was like, this is not it. Like, your time is not up yet. Or whatever happened. But literally, as I was about to do it,
Obviously,
she
but
called
if your
me.
time is not up yet, because then you wouldn't be here with us today or
Yeah,
later,
Right.
like obviously.
exactly. Like, I would be here. But, she called me and was like, you know, hey, I was just thinking about you. What's up? And it was just one of those things where it was like we had this long kiki session. We in high school, child. We like 16 years old. Obviously, we had school
Wow.
the next day, but we kikied for about 2 hours, just laughing and joking. And she made me feel so much better. And it's just one of those things where I'm just like, I would never say that, oh, I've never felt that way. Or I don't understand what that must feel like, because
Yeah.
life has a way of just being like, bitch, I'm going to beat your ass, and I'm going to continue to beat your ass, and I'm going to continue to beat your ass. And you just feel so hopeless and so helpless to the point where it's just like, fuck it. So I
Hmm.
don't know if that was what he was going through. I don't know if whatever the situation was, but if he felt that badly to be like, you know what, fuck it, I can't judge him for it. I refuse to judge him for it. And I just really wish that he just found somebody to talk to, or just found
So,
help.
yeah, and I
Right.
think like going back to what you were saying too, like I personally have always said is never the answer. I personally have said that, but I have also, like yourself, been in that position too, where and oddly enough, I actually said to myself in that moment in time when it did happen, this is not the answer. I don't know why that was always my quote. I don't ask me why. And when I say it, I'm not saying it in a judgmental way. I'm saying it, I
Right, right,
guess,
right.
in a way that I guess in my I don't know how to make sense of it, but I do remember when I was in the exact same moment you're talking about. And I was young then too. I was still in high school, so it wasn't even like I knew what life really was, right? Or where life could really potentially be. And
Mm-hmm.
and I remember as I consider it too, I something in me says this is not the answer. And
Right,
so I know when you say that, like that also kind of hit me because I don't know why, but saying that this is not the answer somehow helped me. So I got myself out of it in that aspect
right,
where the moment I said out loud to myself where I'm like, this is not the answer, this is not the way you want to do it. I self-talked myself out of it, right?
right.
And so I don't know, I guess, but it's it's definitely hard, and
Yeah.
it really goes to show you that you should check in on your friends and your family and your loved ones.
Oh yeah.
And
Hmm.
like no matter how little or how big or whatever it is, that small moment of your out of your time could mean so much more than you realize. Like
Yeah.
your friend who
Yeah.
didn't even
Mm.
realize that she called you right when things were really bad. And you never even talked about like in that moment. I don't think you talked about it. You just kind of moved on to other things and it kind of brought you out of it, right? So it's I don't know. When I heard it happen, the first thing I said, and I was talking to my sister about it, I said, this goes to show you how short life is and how much we need to check in on each other. Because you just
Yeah.
never know.
Mm.
You just
Yeah.
genuinely
It was such a surprise because, he like I mentioned before, like it seems like he's kind of like the he's got everything thing because he has so many loyal fans that love him, and I feel like he really did feel that energy. And then he has been promoting the hell out of his upcoming film that he has with a bunch of different former Power Rangers actors and his daughter. So I was like, he was really going hard on that. So it just looked like things were looking up for him. But even in those times where you think that people can be like really low, and I've been there too. Oh my God, like depression is crazy. Like going through that, like as far back as middle school and then high school. I never felt like ending it that young, but when I became an adult, there's been a few times where I've gotten really low and I didn't want to wake up, or if something happened, I wouldn't. In that moment, I felt like, it wouldn't be so bad because I wouldn't have to feel these ways that I feel.
Yeah.
Right.
Thankfully, I have a good support system, from friends to family. I shook my fear of speaking to a professional, and I finally did that, which was a really nice experience. Um, that
I
that's
love that.
something that's something right there. For anybody else that's listening that feels that has moments like that where you feel like you you not being here will be okay, or you want to actually end it and do harm to yourself. um if you have people in your life that love you, that you trust, talk to them. Are if you maybe you don't have that, there's people out there that you can talk to, whether it's therapy can be expensive. There are alternatives, as far as I'm not sure if those apps are free or if they're subscription based, but they have like apps that you can schedule therapy sessions with, sometimes like through your job or through your health insurance if you have
Hmm.
that.
Kind of piggyback what you're saying is
Mhm.
I also recently have I am seeking out like professional help, and I did notice because my friend told me this, you can actually search in your area low budget or cheap therapy sessions, and they'll show you a list of all the clinics that actually have therapists that are trying to get their I'm not sure what it's called, but it's kind of like, when a doctor is doing their rotation or whatever, but they're not considered
Mhm.
like a resident. So sorry, when a doctor is like a resident, but they're not fully a doctor yet. Um, they they have therapists that are like that. They're not fully a therapist yet, but they're getting like their final step or whatever. So when you find those therapists, you can actually get a really, really good price off of them. Like this one therapist that I'm looking to work with, her lowest cost was $35 Canadian per session, and her highest cost
Mm.
was only like 65. Even then, like it's
Wow.
actually not a bad pricing for therapy. For obvious reasons that even 65, yes, is still high, but it's not like a few $100s per session
Mhm.
kind of thing,
Mhm.
right? And the other
Yeah.
thing that I thought was really cool when I went through my first session was it was a consultation one. It was free. And it was about 20, 30 minutes where they basically just kind of check in, see if you guys would be a good fit. And we did this over Zoom call or phone call. I actually prefer a video call because I wanted to see the person I was talking to. And
Mhm.
obviously that gave you a better judgment whether or not you would be a good fit for them. So I just want to give you guys that just to piggyback off of Will before I'll let you continue. So there are other ways too, if you feel like, like because like certain apps are really expensive, and obviously searching like seeking like licensed therapists is also really expensive, but there are definitely other alternatives that I've learned that you can still seek help without the price tag. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And I was gonna say, Oh, it's hard like in those dark moments to see like a silver lining or see the like the other side. But there and it sounds cliche, but there really is like what's happening, it'll pass. It's I guess acknowledging what's going on is a good thing, but oh man, there's so many ways of combating those bad feelings and actions that you can take to just get to another place. And it's just the great things that you can do in life that you probably haven't done yet. Like there's just so much that you could look forward to, you could do. Um, and of course, there's also suicide hotlines where you can actually speak to some, like if you are in that moment where you just feel like you just can't do it, and like there are hotlines and there are people that you can talk to that can help you through it and walk you back. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's it's so it really is one of those things where it's just like in the when you're in it, it it can just it just seems like okay, I'm by myself. And when you're in the midst of the storm and just really just it's just really coming down, you're not thinking. You're not thinking, you're not considering anything. The only thing that you're thinking about is everything that's happening to you at that moment. And it's like you said, it is cliche to say, it gets better, but it really is true. It really is true. It really does get better. And damn, my heart just really just goes out to just anyone who really genuinely was affected by his death. My heart goes out to his family. Um, and just even with the fandom, like it it's just one of those things where I'm just like, at the end of the day, he's a person. He's someone who really, really, really shaped so many people's childhoods. And, before this was even a conversation, you know, people literally like we've had, even us, we've had these conversations, where we're just like, man, Tommy is not the greatest. Tommy is not this. Tommy is not that. And it's just like, or, people would be like, no, Tommy is the greatest. No, Tommy is this. He's the greatest because he did X, Y, and Z. And it's like now the conversations are going to be so much more different. You know, just the fandom itself feels like it's going to be very different going forward. Because literally, someone who was revered as one of the greatest Rangers of all time is no longer here. You're not going to have that presence anymore. Because he was one of the main reasons why people would go to PMC. Like it was like, oh, can't wait to meet Jason David Frank, or you know, or just any con in general where he would show up. Like that was many of the reasons why people would go, especially if they were going for Power Rangers. It's like, is Jason David Frank going to be there? So for many people, that, if you never got the chance to meet him, unfortunately, you're not going to anymore. Or if you did get the chance to meet him, it's like, cherish that moment because, you know, physically he's no longer here, but his presence, I feel, will always be here. Like he's made such an impact on the fandom to the point where it's like even while he was alive, like he was still everywhere. Even though he wasn't, on the show and stuff like that, or he didn't come back for any of the more recent anniversary specials or whatever have you. But his presence was still known. He was still there, whether it was in the comics or, whether Hasbro Lightning Collection was making another toy of him. Because they were giving us that Tommy Fever honey. So it's just one of those things. I just feel that he may not physically be here anymore, but his legacy, his presence, everything he brought to this fandom will definitely stay forever. It is what it is. Um, and just a little bit more, just to talk about his character, the character he played, Tommy Oliver, the way that Tommy was written, yeah, I had major issues. I'm not gonna hold you. I had major issues a lot of time, especially later on. With his character, it's just like, good grief, this whole show is about him almost. But I will honestly have to say that it's one of those things where it's like, looking back on it now, it's like, this is why so many fans loved him so much. Because his character was like, even at the detriment of others, but his character was always shown doing the right thing. His character was always such a role model of like, this is how you should be as a person. This is how you should be. These are the types of decisions you should make. Sometimes he didn't feel human. Like, let's just be honest. I feel personally like he was more human as the Green Ranger than any other color that he ever was. Because I'm like, Tommy as the Green Ranger will always be the most human for me, like the most realistic character ever. But it was like as soon as he became the White Ranger, he became Jesus. It just kept going from there. But I feel like because of that, he made that because he became such a strong character of what's right. I feel like that coupled with his amazing abilities as a martial artist just cemented that impression in children's heads forever. And Tommy Oliver will always be a huge staple in Power Rangers history. And I'm almost kind of hurt that going forward, things will be different in the fandom in terms of his character and just everything in general. Like we're not gonna get that. We're never gonna get that that reunion that we want.
No Zio
Um,
reunion.
no Zio reunion. You know, it's just and that was it for me. You know, because everybody knows pretty much if you've been listening to this show, you know Zio is like my top favorite season of all time. And even if they wanted to do a Zio reunion, it's not going to happen, you know? Um, so yeah, I mean, does anybody else have anything they want to say about JDF or his character or Tommy or
Two things. I remember I was the White Ranger for Halloween back in like 90, maybe like 94, 95. And I remember I was the the White Ninja Ranger. Um I also you mentioned the comics. That's going to be hard to read now because
yeah,
he's one of the main characters in the comics. They're still in Mighty Morphin.
right.
So that's gonna be so rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And that's precisely where I'm coming from. It's just it's going to be so difficult to read these comics to because like you said we're still in Mighty Morphin. As a matter of fact it feels like I want to say we're still in season 2.
right.
So it is going to be so hard to read these comics knowing that he's no longer here. I feel like because Tweet has been going for so long, we were able to kind of read the comics, and be like, oh yeah, I like what they're doing with her, kind of a thing. But
Mhm.
with this being so fresh, it's like, this is going to be interesting. Like, this is going to be really weird. Reading these new comics and what they're going to do with them, and it's it's going to be difficult. It will be difficult, I will say. Um, but yeah, Lena, you have anything you want to add before we end this episode?
No, no. You guys pretty much said it all.
Yeah, and honestly, it's just yeah, I just think that we should just go ahead and end it here. It just mm, 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 mm. I
Oh
don't
man,
know.
I hope I'm hoping for the best for his family right now.
Yeah,
He has a few kids. We already mentioned Jenna, but I'm wishing the best for them, and of course, his fans out there, and his castmates,
yeah.
and may he rest in peace. And
May he rest in peace.
just thank you, JDF, for the memories and for like for me personally, just all of the characters really they made me want to be a good person. I feel like they've helped to influence the person that I am and like how much I love friendship and how I try to be a good friend. And I just appreciate them him for portraying that character and portraying those values. And I try to, live by them. So thank you for that.
Wow.
I
Wow.
agree with you. Like that's I mean, I've always said this. I don't know if I would be the person I am today without Power Rangers, but yeah, yeah.
Same, honestly. I mean, I've said this hundreds of times, either off the show or on the show, but Power Rangers has definitely had a special place in my development as a teenager, as a young kid, even as an adult. Like there's just Power Rangers has always been here in our lives. And it when someone goes, it just feels like, you know, a family member is gone.
Mm.
It feels like that it feels like that one person who, was once on that on your TV screen every day, or, every Saturday morning or whatever have you, that memory of seeing that person, they're no longer here anymore. And it really does show you just how fragile life is, and just how easily, you know, nobody is invincible, nobody is irreplaceable. It's well, excuse me, nobody is replaceable. Um, well, no, irreplaceable. I was right. Yeah, I thought I misused the word, but it's just it's just one of those things where it's just like, as much as you can feel how you feel about them, you can say what you say what you want, whether you loved them or hated them, you can't deny the impact he had. Just plain and simple.
Mm.
You just can't. You can't deny the impact that he had. And it's like you said, Will, the only thing we can do is just offer up love and light and prayers to the family, to the cast, and to the fans, to, and just pray that everyone just in this time just feel as connected to him as much as possible, because it's going to be a hard couple of I can't imagine the castmates right now. I literally just, while you all were talking, I was scrolling through Instagram, and I came across a video of Walter basically hugging
I saw that
JDL.
too.
Yeah, and he was saying that was his last time seeing him at PMC 2022. And that is just, that's so hard.
And even that
So
video, that was a really long hug.
yeah, 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 yeah. So I just hope and pray that all of you just, like I said, just continue to just keep his family in prayer, keep the Ranger family in prayer, the Ranger Nation in prayer, and just also continue to be good to each other. Like, I understand right
Mm-hmm.
now, like this fandom is, we have a lot of issues right now. Like,
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
what it is. But y'all, we have got to just be mindful that everybody who we talk to, everybody that we converse with on social media, no matter who it is, you may be talking to, somebody in Timbuktu, but at the end of the day, we are all human beings. No
yeah,
one is invincible. No one is perfect. And you could easily be here today and going tomorrow.
yeah, and it's You gotta realize that your words have meaning. I'm not sure how much of what people say he saw or if it affected him really, but you never know. It could have.
Yeah,
Um, the things that you say, they hold weight, and you may think that you're being snarky or trying to make a point or whatever, but just think about if you would say that to somebody's face, and just think about how that would make them feel.
yeah,
Um, so that's really important to think about before you uh, make public statements, because it's about somebody could see that and that could make them feel a certain kind of way.
absolutely. 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 And listen, I'm always the first person to say it. And I've said this plenty of times on this show. If you think before you talk, think before you type. Think before you type. If you can't say whatever you're going to say to someone's face without feeling like, this may go south, don't say that mess on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Just because you don't think, oh, I'll never meet that person in real life, you know, it doesn't matter because like JDF is literally a testament of this. You never know what anyone is going through. You just never know. And it's just so disheartening that literally, one thing could literally set somebody off. One thing that you're just sitting here like, whatever. Like, I didn't really think that this was bad. But no, like that one thing could literally be that straw that breaks the camel's back. So, just once again, just be good to each other. Just be nice to each other, be kind. And also hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable. And try to be the best person you can be. But yeah, I think this is a good place to end this. So my name is Brandon.
My name is Lena.
And my name is Will.
And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.